多劫常见跌落那轮当满百年来觉见观不把得尊谢家归见观满把切结中也愿百劫难当这代才送半点准白座萨兰恰呀切来安耶别娘灭着根大不甘愿啦所谓的所甘愿来满能月白真诺难待见耶罗显罗光耶甘白尊白心se noro gun la chai je me ba zen de ta je bien gon jen la nye guru shen ba ne barai chen ye lo mun gun gun ye goi wo zon bai yin ne ngai de go che be la ma la yuen do so wa de be go chen la che me me ge ge wa chen ge lo ye me gong ye ngoi ye zon bai xin kan sha rai to be ngo wo 金戒罗南多我觉尊百姓吉日呀玛音吉日呀cha va la ma ga ro ba cha re go je la ko ro de me to ba金戒罗戒外滚多扬大来玛当扎灭却也巴拉萨当来耶愿天然作呢多罗杰cha 장기 고반요 노요 자자와 단시진 샤바 지수예랑 구신 소바 인계와 중생다 지사바 탐진다 배장 전부 sa ye bu ju ju je men do pe ra lin xie ni de jian ba de san jie xin du mi de pu ba zhe ge nam da xin du jie ba ra yo sem jie nam jie sang ba dang lo ye jie jie da wa qi zhong tu mong te ba 취계 고론 고론도 소
과제 세조 과제를 하는 날에는 나 과제를 왜 요리하러 너가 먼저 봐봐요. 저도 너무 혼자 담아 주는 데장 가다 주도 지나 대신 너무 잡아 가서 이제 이거도 그다음에 이제 하이게 나는 내가 너무 나는 좋아하고 저라서 마음도 나게 줘야 되는도 강에 저러 저 너무 예면 맞으면 마다면 뭐 하면 타제되면 저번에 시대 마저 상계만 담바데라 자제로 Number 2랑 세계 먼저 내게 성로리아 아니 참주셔야이 엔드린데 어저디 지게기 최시하러 붙여야기 아니 니만 제마도 임래 miel이야 가상데 주어로 가셔도 제장 주어도 주어지는 차야지 얘는 차는 디젤이야 하는 다 최신 차야지 주동 주인
First of all, I would like to offer my greetings to all of the Rinpoches as well as the members of the Sangha and the lay community. Today is the last day of this teaching for our foreign students. And so, first of all, in this teaching, I would like to have the questions and answers. So we'll have questions and answers first, and then following that, I will teach more about the Dharma and conclude the teachings. The first question is, if we have been educated in the West, we have a spirit of competition as it is considered a virtue there. When we deeply wish to practice Dharma properly, we have to work on this competitiveness and also on our jealousy. Could Your Holiness please tell us how to recognize these negative aspects in our mind, how to deal with them, and how to work with others' projections of jealousy onto us? And is this competitiveness and jealousy connected with both low self-esteem and pride?
Kasi nganzu nubchoki labjong chiga ina, tene chigla ndendur 제야당 제야디 개침부시 저기서 야바지 디 내가 야바지 샤도 이나양 안주 최 양다바지 냠스 렘백 답시 채나 최기 나는야 드니 렌셈당 드니 시행기 착도 된좀마 시야기 답시 방야기 답시 제가 송도스 뒤송전 드는 디기 coalition color containers the densem down chakto de kandas lalin tar bole kandas nyamnen jar kondo tine mixe gi shengi ngarang chu chakto yuna take up kariche gore tine densem down dentur cha de down chakto gi samlo ni de ranki kansorti membengaje ini passion sejo passion
지난 남배 숑로 나네 레로 남버 숨숨 됐다네 아니 더니 녀베 레로 사지요 수수수 녀주시다 수수 간 중고만에 간체 도만에 서서로 근데기 그노 티아데 노르레스 아티지 레로 난 진짜 레로 독셔를 붙이더니 문제를 지금도 해 되게 유진 좀 뽑아고 알았어 뽑아다 제네 다양 참선지 뽑아다가 예도 이제 누르 디 노년도와 뽑아 근데 치게도 안 충분히 로저 제도네 지 가셔야 아이덴티티스 하다디 소수기 individual di beda individual somewhere that sosu geg ngasa da gechim bimis gerger ka rawasana da thodan di gechim bruchi mi indusane di gechim amoshe indusane da chochi ne ene go gezer bjido azu bebazu bena chiye bu chung chung ji mi ne ene bena 미첨보 그나 das 계속 신진으로 되sol에 보고 돈벼도 안에 지게지 투야 보고 해야 돼요. 근데 와 아주 배배난 데 아마 라마 첨보지 패서나 아니 부장으로 가서 동부 휴휴를 차지 미살 다대 마도베 간 가서 좋아할 지내 제아들 가서 법에 견등요 말에 다대지 초전에 누르르 지대도 럽존 대단 총뒤네 다 미천벌이랑 아주지 가서 그렇게도 야게 계시해비나 다디지 구셔면 그러지다 야면지 계속 제발 드리지 저거 봐 다들 디잖아 누르르 진짜 딱 간다량 법에 얘기하고도 인비는 참선한지 누적이 미카시한지 법에 채자지 법에 지금 아예 유로를 채제 근데现在배지 계속 샤서 근데 용해를 수도 근데 인도산 지당 그 법에 요구하되 그 시작에 좀 버리셔 지 소수기 가서 신기해 받을 때 지지 시에버들이야 소수기 딩당 닝도 버지 요구하되 계속 시작하셔 다이민의 되지 신 계속기 줄래야 말로지다 안다나지 랑래 연대 사왕 연대 채와 여버되기들이야 아니지 가서 미가벨로 미겨와 다든지 와다 계속 시작하셔 다 간다지 최념의 제배 걸리네야 좀 진도를 지해 마시 오늘 다지 저 유기라마 고마도 다든지 제도지 남다르 라마 베나 마르벤데 나요 밀렌데 제어 수두사 어다지 나의 진대를 직중나서 살지 된 진도 들어갔는데 되면 진도 첨보로 와 근데 그 콘다보르 직중나서 된데 지금 뭐 코라랑 베나 라메 공방 코라 두셔가 있어 거고 코라랑 제셔가 있어 거고 근데 두산 이제 뭐가 더 버르지죠 다 예민해지 다 대양 아주 대법 무구된 대회 통해 제아마다 베다 되지 아주 지당기 차도당 얘는 진짜지现在 캐도서요 막 야나지 생기远点了呀 다지 마가와 다 진짜 걸로 로다지 많이 봐 생기 远点了 区别 로다 아니 지 现在呀 생기 远点了 이촌 말아야 되다고 총나서 버려 근데 지기다 쌤 시와지다 쌤 가서에 잠바로 디주제도가 이 뉴스는 지당 고야라 샤스 다 이미네 디양 빈주 나게 당 뽑아 되기 다양 다나진 진도로다 차도서 되기 빈주 만으로 chen 네 리버시아 chen 나는 자고야 돼 개체 미스라서
Generally, in the Buddhist teachings, we talk about 3 different types of laziness. And one of those types of laziness is the laziness of being self-deprecating, the laziness of criticizing yourself. And so this is thinking, oh, I'm terrible, I'm not a good person, this is, and I'm a bad person. This is actually a form of laziness, and it's a mistake. Actually, it's like the worst of the types of laziness. So it's important for us to have confidence. But when we have confidence, there's a danger that we might mistake confidence for pride, or pride for confidence. And so when we think about it in terms of in foreign countries, in the West, there's often this strong sense of individuality, a sense of the personal identity, an idea that we ourselves are important. I'm independent, I'm an individual. And when we think about it, then actually from one side, this is actually a good thing. And the reason it's a good thing is that even when you have small children from Western countries, when they meet great beings and great individuals, they have a lot of confidence, and they have no problem with asking them questions or having conversations with even great people. On the other hand, when we have children, Tibetan children, for example, all they can do is look down at the ground and they can't ask any questions at all. They don't have the confidence to ask any questions at all. So maybe that's a mistake. It's a question of having no confidence. They are unable, when they meet great people, to even look at them, let alone... and it's considered, if you do ask questions of great people, it's thought to be disrespectful and not a good thing to do. And so, actually, maybe that is a mistake. Some confidence is good. On the other hand, maybe sometimes in the West, people get too confident. And when you get too confident, then you get proud. And when you're proud, then you ignore others, you disregard others. So generally, having confidence is good. And when you have confidence, it's like all the things you know and your intelligence, this is a source of confidence, it's a source of courage that you can have. But at the same time, it's important not to disregard others, not to disrespect others. And it's important to remember that there are people who have greater qualities than you, who are greater than them, and not to be jealous of them in any way. Maybe actually when we think about it, a little bit of competitiveness is actually necessary. Like there are stories of great lamas from the past, great Sakya lamas who thought about things that Marpa, the translator, or Milarepa did, and they said, oh, Marpa and Milarepa did that, I'm going to do that too. I'm going to be able to accomplish just as they did. And so this is actually a form of confidence. It's a form of competitiveness. I'm going to do that. They attained all these qualities, and I'm going to attain all these qualities as well. I can be a high lama also myself. But this is confidence that is connected with faith and devotion. So generally, we need to be sure that that we don't mix our confidence with jealousy and pride. That we do not disregard others, or that we do not get upset about the qualities, or feel bad or feel jealous of the qualities that other people have. So we need confidence where we're also willing to praise others for their qualities, to take delight in the qualities of other people. So this is the confidence of saying, I'm going to be like that too. And when we have that sort of a confidence, then our minds can be peaceful, our minds can be gentle. That's the sort of confidence that we need. And so it's important that we distinguish between the pride and the confidence, that we distinguish between competitiveness and jealousy, and that we do not mistake these. The next question is that in many Dharma centers, sometimes it seems like abroad, it seems like Western Buddhists behave worse than non-Buddhists in terms of being kind or being supportive. And how can we deal with this? How can we have more peace and harmony in Western Dharma centers?
Nupchoki nambe nyamlen chingin ki mi nangto tene gashi nangpa mayin pale tene doksam ki joba jolam tene chingi yongdos pene chamze meba tang tene shena rogjor manchinkin tene yongdos tenzole ya tene kandas chine tekapsu karachi oras kandas shuya chikdang tene nupchole yunkin ki chö ki chokpa tenzo tene chambo tang, shiwa tang, te yongya ki tabshi karayos.
다디 좋아 첨부를 제도 와디. 아디 좋아되는 게 렌즈 겹도 연단 게 추도 상말로 따다 소셔로. 다디 랜데 네 잡도요 말아요. 갈아 하부 인기를 성공. 지체는 아주 담 라마 고마츠 티 나노래야. 최기 대사지 찬도야 그래서 최기 대. 최기 대스도 산다. 베나디 고아디 취나 바샤서 봐. 고아 취나 반지고 고아 샤샤고 다데데 신관에 유시 다 고아 고아 고종태 야다데 다 저거데 간다라 카네메네 그뒤네지 미상보체오레 지 카르쇠 야보체오레 상보체오레 상보체오레 지시두산 자신 부잖아. I hate be a good person. 저러다 그뒤에 시에데 오르다. 베나지 파마디 저기 보고디 소리야디 야보체오레 지게 제오르슬라두사 다 되게 자신으로 잖아. 다 bad person으로 제잖아. 마도 내 격사 말해서 그렇지. 이거 봐. 디소르 잖아. 그뒤에 지잖아. 라렌라는 마다르체. 디 소수기 not from your depth of your heart. 와, 지 남바상게 베차당 엔다나 신지기 미상보 차사디 소수기 인타번에 맞지 많이 베차. 다 미신다 지다 가사 제라바시기 에고 아우잖아 미상보 차오레 남바상게 베차오레 접선 도오레 담즈 송고레 제 차오레 니 차오레스 망볼라이 인두스나 계제도 마음 거연도 산다 계제도 가셔야 그걸 좋아하면 버럭지다 야나지 계제도 거연도 산다 짜서 버럭차 근데 이거 봐 안 다나신 하버도 지 라마 가이드 섬으로 배다고 뭐지 최대 망보 시규시에 버체 시야보다 라내를 마다 세제 에너지 침비나 에너지 가셔야 시험으로 차네 시험스도 산하고确实这些样东西，给这些嘛，对哪里大没不着，些样不差多，对忙不差说呢，看你年不休些样给，哪里的呀？大家没给了，这里差多人个多，这里提就在店，这些人讲说，哪怕上给不了呀，这些人到看到这强把的年纪来说吧，我那真的这上不去差给，다 가수다 플러스 신 롭종 롭소 education 차상 유예부터 되데 이내한테 라렌은 아주 다야들이야 데스 가수에 아주 라렌 다야의 용차바 인도서 디 초제 견주죠 초진에 지시나 아니 다 균제만 뭐 이로 초진에 지시한데 organizations 말고 다지 간다 들려야 진 진경 오늘 차와라는 다외 거리야 다다다다 게 진경 그지 아버야 의미나 에너지 그게 가서다 소소의 랑가데 중고리양 고고 팅예로 지든 진경 야버셔 의미나 아니 지잖아 아니 가서지 랑가로 세버스 통제 아니 소소 가르치고 해야지 하고 투야로 집어지 연구를 해서 나 진짜 매우 인도산 다가 참사지게 다디 퍼지디 나자데 뭐 강보다 누저를 예내면은 지장 아주 배배 나사된 거예요 이게 배바도 배바 많이 야자 먹고지 최 신경만 최문에데 근데 신경만 다이면은 지 가서에 아 야보체 상보체 사르다 되게 저기서 다디 오늘 라렌을 따르고 여러 취사하디 배나 짐배 버르드 짐바 로자스 해야 되나 평마로 봐 짐바 당고 오로 봐 안다 이미랑 아주 짐배 버르드 짐바 셰 이네 짐바 당할라 때 버지 가져에 누르 차디요 다나 쇠배 버르드 짐바 셰 다데 오마데 망고 오마 라마치 알았어 고 라마신자 제도사나 고란 라마 지여체 ane ko lama shinda chi thuga chi mares ande lama shinda de ko la geje tibres lama big lama el geje tibres kana ti sang kar chi sang ate sang ge ka so ko be na junju ya bo ti wins ane de kamju 안다는 양직 기지시도 사는 건 금주지 종유서로 라마데 봐 금주 안데 내주 사는 미지기지 나 여러시 때라 금주 잡이 금주도 야보 차소스 다데 라마신다데 에 바지 저랑 주주 티도 사는 세벨리오도 바지 티 유지 말았어 아 세벨리오 빼 야보 티 인서 다디 서로지 참변 다 간다你的还是呢，确的，哪来大家的嘛都看那些的，大家看说，坦白说啥的，就身边对不对？你去确个坦白说，没有的嘛都个，看你刚刚些呢，说身边对么都没呢，大家确定我呢就看说的，清怎不确，明怎不确不强多的。디 담배취 양다보다 오늘 전에 담배취 처리하면 되는 아주 내버려도 가지 강토도 취 측정마도 마도인데 라렌을 다토야 라렌 따야 돼 조조다 심균 뒤에 체도 라렌 다고 니버딩 아주 지 최소하고 변했다 센터홀더 되게들이야 아주 지 라메게 마 가수에 가상보낭 안다는 원래야지 진정 세계의 수입이네 다다다다 지 가서 전토了 라네 전토了 켜버리지 근데 재미나 지 전다 녀도 용 좀을 마시 다들 리즈 망고 있기는 게 망고 시 신매 too much
Well, it's good to be a good person, but maybe it gets hard. It's important to be a good person, but if maybe in foreign Dharma centers, maybe I just haven't gone there yet, and I have to go there, and I have to go and fix things up there. So.
No problem.
So I haven't been there, so I can't really say everything that's happened in all of the Dharma centers exactly. Now,
this is a big question. You just said this is a big question. If I can answer this question, then
it's a. So it is a very big question that we need to think about. Now. Generally, when we try to be a good person, and we hear this, we go to Dharma centers and we hear people telling us, "Oh, it's good to be a good person. You need to do this. You need to do that." And sometimes it just gets really irritating to hear this over and over again. It says, "Oh, you have to do this. You have to do that." It's not, and so it's hard to say, sometimes it gets so irritating, you just feel like, oh, I don't want to do any of that. I'm going to be a bad person, maybe. Maybe I get so irritated with it. So, it's a question of not putting the Dharma into practice. And so generally, when we talk about practicing Buddhism, we talk about being a good person, but we do it. But when we talk about this, sometimes we don't really do it from the bottoms of our heart. We don't really think, "Oh, I need to do this," and instead we just hear people saying, "You need to do this. You need to practice mindfulness. You need to practice refuge. You need to hold all these samaya commitments. You need to do this, and you need to do that." And you hear a lot of people saying many different things. And then you sort of feel like, you just don't feel like you want to do it. It gets too annoying and it gets too irritating to hear all of these things. And so when we teach the Dharma well, but maybe it's a question of we're just not putting it into practice all that well. And so, we say nice things from our heart, from our mouth, but from our heart we aren't really putting them into practice. And so, in terms of the Buddha, in Buddhism we always talk about you have to develop loving kindness and compassion. We talk about how to be a good person. We have all the methods to teach us how to be a good person, but just speaking about it isn't enough. We have to also put it into practice. And so, if we think about this, maybe there are many different reasons why this happens. Maybe in Dharma centers, we don't have the organization and the administration is maybe not good enough. And if the organization and the administration is good, then people will be able to see what the path is that they need to follow, how they need to progress. They'll see that clearly, and they'll know what to do. But otherwise, it's difficult. Maybe it's a question of, we have a Tibetan sickness that maybe has infected Western Dharma centers. In Tibet, we sometimes, we don't really put the Dharma into practice. We say, we have to practice Dharma. We have to be we have to practice the Dharma. But when it comes to actually practicing it, maybe we don't do that so much. For example, you can talk about the paramita of generosity for 100 years, but eventually talking about it is not enough. You actually have to be generous. And so just speaking about it is not being so generous. Similarly, when we talk about the transcendent patience, we can talk about it all we want, but we don't always practice it. Like there's a story of this Lama once. This Lama went to go see another Lama. And so this second Lama, Lama B, said to Lama A, what are you doing now? And so Lama A replied, okay, well, I'm in my monastery, I'm teaching Shantideva's way of the Bodhisattva. And the Lama A said that's very nice, and they kept talking. And it turned out that someone had given Lama A a problem, and he'd brought a court case, a lawsuit against that person. And Lama A had won his lawsuit and said, this is very good, it really turned out quite well. Then Lama B said, then you must not have taught the patience chapter from the way of the Bodhisattva, did you? And Lama A said, no, I taught it very well. So this is a question where he's not really practicing the Dharma. He's they're saying it with the mouths, but not really practicing it. So when Dharma is something that we need to practice in order to tame our mind stream. And if we're only talking about it and using words with it, then it's not going to, and it doesn't tame our mind stream, then it's something that it's just words, it's not being put into practice. And so if we do Dharma like that, that is not true Lama practice. And so really, what we have to do is when we learn the Dharma and study the Dharma, it's something we need to put into practice, and that we need to do so that it will be able to tame our mind streams. Another thing is that when Lamas give us the instructions, they give us profound instructions, then we need to maintain those, and we need to practice, and we need to maintain them and practice those instructions and understand them. And if we can do that, then maybe that will help as well.
Basics of Mengxi or introduction. Number some church, Mengxi Mojo Cheche. Take more travel channel. Kanda Kurang Chuzo de la Shuni, Zawe Miu Karimati, Kurang Hako Goyati, Gage of Starisha. I did the new Mojo's game as a chair. Daddy Chuzon about you. And a legally Garji Chusho, the Gardiviti, Gizmiachi, and the Nazu Chuzota, Kozu Chuzota, Nazu Chuguda, 호주 추규의 사람 이제 다간다 제거면 어저들 장바는 이제도 짬로도 좀 마시에 거네 지 장신기 지 초래지야도 시 근데 주야 얘기만 성도스 다 저데 간다야 다 최소들이야 슈베 지 거대로부터 다 소소 가서 최년의 자로 이민주산에 디 최년의 자들 이거 니마 당보 코라네 아주 아버지방 모르세 그런 대쇼가 좀 센데 이르르스 다 가더라 뒤다보 균도당 어디 제거하다 계속 이스래 어디세 다다 조데 어디 전에 다 간다 코란 심규디 코란게 어디 제버데 심규리한 잡으세 간다지 셈띵니 간다 코란 미상도 체하로지 이제 가서 이제 배주셔고 하다 계속 치료
So another aspect is that when we go to Dharma centers, when people come to the Dharma centers, maybe, we're not stressing the basics. Maybe we're not stressing the real foundations of the practice enough. And so, really, when someone comes to a Buddhist Dharma center, we need to introduce them to what the basis of the Dharma is. So they need to understand the basics and the foundation of and the aims of their practice. But we don't give them that introduction to what it is. We bring them into the Dharma center and then we say, okay, this is our Dharma center, this is our Dharma center, that's their Dharma center, this is our lineage, that's their lineage. And so we don't teach them about loving kindness, compassion, and refuge. And instead we teach them about holding sides, or taking sides. And so that is not good. So in any way, case, the whole point of having a Dharma center is to practice the Dharma. And so that from the first day that someone comes to a Dharma center, we need to say, okay, this is the reasons why you come to Dharma centers. This is why you practice the Dharma. And if we give that introduction to them at the beginning, then we tell them how to practice the Dharma, give them the introduction so that they can bring it into their own selves and bring it into taming their own being. And so in this way we need to introduce them to how it's important to become a good person through working with their mind. Instructions on meditation say that we should keep our gaze stable in front of us. I have been meditating for a long time with my eyes closed. When I meditate with them open, I can't sit for a long time and can't keep my mind calm. What should I do?
Gom ki mangbun nangto, gom jabe kapsu mekte dunki namkala tere, shagwaya tende sondus. Yinaya ngarangi gom jabe kapsu mek chumne, tene yuringburin gom, lomangburin gom jabyus. Tene da karche buinas. Yina mek dane gom jabe na, tene yuringbu sem netu medus, sem neal kalikabudu, tesundu karche buinas.
Mình düğün ta 가서 mình düğün 난 거라 제대로 짜 인기 말아 지 mình düğün 난 걸. 다 mình 다다만 뭐야 그랬어. 차전 전부터 저거 준비 나올래. mình 다다만 뭐 시다도와. 참참 지 반항 걸려야 봐. 남래야 따고야. 다한테 따들이야 계속 안 보소요. 다이나 지용차는 신의 공백을 미기 가르쳐 나지 되게 반나나 따사야 지겨 봐. 나지 되게 반나나. 안 다라시야. 너의 너 가시 나로리아. 다베 가사. 예수 따와도 유연도 따와야 뭐 이분들이 따와야 뭐 딱 한다르지 밑에서 르르첸 하장급의 반항을 제네 따고 이게 말았어 밑에 드네주서 딱 한다 르르첸 베드 미 담보 좀 되면이나 야디 지와 용하다 되게 내가 열었어 이 공급 발전 종물에서 드네주산에 하장 좀 잡아야 뭐 봐 하장 당한 잡아야 뭐 봐 다간다 검나 바지 미 당나 대보여 같은 제 가시 숨기 있어래 검바 템나 검바 맞나 이제 가서 다 중세 집 가서 미게 막 퍼 배양배 좀봐야 뭐 봐 하장 당와야 뭐 되듯이 고야를 이루어 다 이메네 지랑 미다다는 게 버스케에서 말다디 명하다 데베 라마 담베 중도 컨디션에 아버레마도 예 소르든데 계제지 마티 아마라스
Well, sometimes it is said that you need to look in the space in front of you, but actually there are many different types of ways that you are taught to look. There are many different instructions that tell different ways to look with your eyes during meditation. In the instructions on Mahamudra and the instructions on Dzogchen, there are many different gazes that are spoke about. Sometimes it's said you need to gaze in the sky or in many different ways. When we're meditating on the shamatha meditation, however, often it's said that we should just look at the space, look into the space in front of our noses. And in many sutras, it is said that you should not look to the right, you should not look to the left, you should just let your eyes relax. So you don't stare with your eyes, but you should let your eyes be loose and relaxed. So if you meditate with your eyes closed, then there's the danger, especially for beginners, that you'll get really lethargic and really your meditation will have a lot of torpor. And so there's the danger that this will become an obstacle in your meditation. And so for that reason, you should not close your eyes too much. You should not but on the other hand, you should not open your eyes too wide either. So when you get used to it, if you meditate with your eyes open, then it's more comfortable. So it's more comfortable when you're used to it, but when you're not used to it, then maybe it's better not to close your eyes, but not to have them open too wide either. So there's no definite answer for this. So what is important is you should probably go and ask a Lama who has all of the instructions. It's not something that you should ask me.
自心本性也好，或者叫做具身的智慧呢，它展现为这个本尊的身形或者这个。
The next question is, how do we practice together deity yoga and looking at the mind, both during a session of meditation and afterwards?
它遍满着每一个本尊哦，就是这样的一个意思。所以，同样呢，在做本尊观修的时候，说大手印也好，大圆满也好，大中观也好，这些的内容，我们就算没有办法，我们并没有实证大手印、大圆满或者大中观，但是我们至少要具备着，就在做本尊观修的时候，至少要具备着这些法门的一些见解跟理解。那这是空性的见解、圆形的见解，这些应该是要具备的。那么，同时我们说在大手印的这种传承来讲呢，它不注重的，它注重的并不是所谓的观察修，而它注重的是安住修，就是直接将心安住在这种不造作的自性本性当中。透过这种大手印安住修的方式，你直接努力的让自己的可以说光明的本质、本来的智慧能够从内心展现出来。所以这种 所谓的光明的本质、自心的本性，它的本质呢是这种但它展现的相是什么呢？就是本尊的相哦。所以这是整个我们说观修本尊它最主要的意思。所以并不是说。要这个又观修本尊又禅修自心本性，只是你并不是在一心二用，并不是的，而是你只是将你的本质展现出来，而这个本然的智慧、自心本性是每个人都本有的，但是我们现在没有将它开显出来而已。所以当你在做本尊观修的时候的意思就是，你刚开始透过一种刻意的去观想，然后你想说我的自心本性展现了，而且这个自心本性展现的相就是这个本尊，所以这是为什么我们要观想自己是本尊的这样的一个意思哦。所以总的来说，当你在做观修的时候，甚深空性的见解，还有广大的缘起的见解，这两个你要平衡，要同时具备是很重要的。因为所谓的空性并不是完空，所谓的显相也并非实有，而是显现中有空，空性中能够展现各种的相貌。所以同样，当你在做本尊观修的时候，也要带着这样显空不二的心去修。但无论如何，其实这个问题真的不是我能够回答的。我这次的主题是我能讲的呢，其实就只是告诉大家跟大家分享如何成为一个好人、一个善人哦。像这么深奥的这些问题，其实我也不懂，不是我能回答的。
하이 남발롱도 교수님들 다 내지 고아르지 랭구면 단 도나 다 도도디 다 사목동번이다 엔다 자체와 대중선한다도 니 고아디 냠도 요구하다 계속 있어 지 고아는 와 동보 초지고서도 산 가메 지메 장매로 지메 봐 아야 나와 초지고 아다 가서지 탐제了양고 지点点出出
这里似乎问题越来越深了，可否请法王解释一下所谓的空分跟明分这两个部分？
그래서 더버듯이 시에 도움이 돌아 어디 예주의 있어 말해.
These are really profound questions. I'm supposed to be talking about being a good person here, and I'm getting these profound questions about Mahamudra and stuff. I'm not sure I can answer these. I don't know if I know the answer to them very well. But generally, when we're talking about meditating on ourselves in the form of the deity, it's not we don't meditate upon our physical body of flesh and blood as being the deity. That's not how we meditate. It's not meditating upon the physical body as being the deity. Rather, it's saying that our own innate wisdom appears in the form of the deity. And so, in the terms of the unexcelled Yoga Tantra, the highest secret mantra, there we talk about the wisdom of great bliss that appears in the form of the deity. And so in the instructions, when we talk about Mahamudra or we talk about Dzogchen or we talk about the great middle way, this is all a way to sort of make that evident, to reveal that deity. And so this is something that we need to understand the view of how it is. So it's really it's an empty... and so first we need to understand how this form is, what the emptiness is, and how the form appears. And so, when we meditate upon Mahamudra, or we meditate upon Dzogchen, this is not something where we're doing analytic meditation. Primarily, we are just doing resting meditation, where we practice by resting without altering the mind in any way. And so we do the practice as a way to allow the wisdom of the luminosity that is present within us. We do it in order to try to reveal that, to make that manifest and visible. And so when we meditate on ourselves as the deity, then the essence is the luminous wisdom, but the aspect, the form of this is the deity. And so generally it is the wisdom that is taking the form of the deity. It's the essence of our mind that arises of as the innate luminous wisdom that we have. And so this wisdom is not manifest now, but what we do is we take imagination as the path, and we think, I have this luminous and innate wisdom, and that it's appearing in the form of the deity. And so that is what we need to understand. And so generally, what we need to, the main point is that there is the profound emptiness, and then there is all the vast way that things appears. But when we think about emptiness, emptiness is not just nothingness. It's not blankness, inanimate nothingness, nothing at all. But at the same time, there are all the appearances, but the appearances are not, if we think that appearances are all things that are truly there, that are really there and solid things, that's not how it is either. Rather, it's that while things appear, they're empty. While they empty, they appear. And so that is how we need to understand it. And so this way we need to meditate upon the deity and practice mindfulness, meditate on the deity. And so generally here, actually I'm supposed to be talking about how to become a good person and things like, talking about profound things like this. This isn't really something that's within my scope or my sphere that I can talk about.
Keep going. Maybe 2 questions.
We have another profound question, which is, what does His Holiness explain more about the empty aspect and the clear aspect of mind?
首先谈到这个康熙皇帝呢，他是皇帝当中可以说清朝当中非常非常出名的这样的一位皇帝。那么当然我们说身为这个皇帝的时候，总是会有这种战争啊各种情况的。无论如何，这位康熙皇帝呢，他也学习这个佛法，那同时他也有学习这些藏传的这些佛法，尤其是噶当派的这些教法。那么过去还有提到他接受一些灌顶。那当然，如果我没有记错或者我没说错的话，似乎有这么一段记载，就是说他我们说因为他贵为皇帝，那么他应该来讲，照理说没办法跟一般人一般，就是接受灌顶的时候必须坐在地上啊，或者然后宝瓶放在头上啊等等。但是听说这个康熙皇帝呢，他比一般人更加的恭敬，他是坐在地上，而且还真是跪着，就他比一般人还更加的恭敬来接受这些灌顶。同时也有一些记载说，他在
His Holiness will answer this as he gives his teachings later.
他也付诸于实践。
So the next question is a question about during the Qing dynasty, Emperor Kangxi was good to the people and protected them, but he also raised armies and fought wars where many people died. If he were to want to attain Buddhahood, would it be necessary for him or such a person as him to purify his karma in the same way as Milarepa?
那样大的苦行的。
Qing dynasty, Qing Jarab kapsu Jebo Kangxi singi yoris. Kongi jidang ki mang misal ya song job dang Changjong chidang yawo shida nawo des yina yang khong ge ma mangbo khong ge jarak ti kaso ma yang mangbo jamdo tene ma je kaso mi yang mangbo shindo de son jang pen na jabo khong dawo cheki tene sanji je kompang tok gona tene thomal korangi ta chi debatan ju sa deba sa ba je pa jangya ge tabla bezu melara ba na shin je golas
以前法王有说过，在修上师相应法的时候，上师是佛陀化身的样子，那加持会更快。这是什么意思？所以，这样的修持跟本尊的修持。 是不是有相同的地方？好像说他不太记得是有说过这样的话。
ene chue de su nyamlen che ana ba ji wang de su shu du sa ne ba ji de yin be ta nge normal nan wang de su shu du sa ne ji dang kuran ko ma ge bo yin du sa ne ana wang shu du sa nga su mi phe ban de xin che ne ji la me chong le ya ji den ma be tho le ya de ya da na ji ji go le ya ji la me ji go la pa ma ja la so ba ji dang de ko ti ko ge be lu su de ndiko marba ina kurangi en de ma be thola de am pyumo zone de dana sinji lamalaya ji kuba cheba chedan de sanglo mi pheba ngaran so le habro de chebe rugyuru de do chesan kurangi ji chusho tone ji nyamne ya dana sinji nyamne chene lame ma sung sha ba de su kurangi nyamne chene kurangi nyamnyong de chongste ya toba pyu 다 진짜 계산 안 도. 근데 인도산 다 가르지나. 다 매상으로 지 가사 소수기 로예 좀 받아.就忘的
问题是问到说，这两个方法是消除轮回最好的方法。那法王说，首先最重要的，我们说什么方法可以消除？怎么样可以消除轮回？空掉轮回最好的方法，我说就是你真正降服你的我执哦，这是最重要的。所以无论说你在做上师相应法的修持，或者你在做本尊的观修，或者是你在做各种空性的修持，
we have to think about the dynastic history and during the Qing dynasty, King Kangxi was one of the greatest and one of the most famous kings during the time of the Qing dynasty. And so he was a king, so of course he had to occasionally wage war and so forth. But in terms of his Buddhist practice, he practiced Buddhism, he had lamas from Tibet, he practiced Tibetan Buddhism, he especially had Gelugpa lamas. And it's said that when he would take empowerments and so forth, then he didn't do this like a king. You know, he didn't act like a king, but instead he acted like a normal person. He sat on low seats. He had the vase placed on the top of his head and so forth. So he didn't sit in a high place like a king. He acted as an ordinary person. He knelt and so forth. In fact, he even acted more as an ordinary person than most ordinary people do. So generally, when he was practicing the Dharma, he practiced the Dharma, and then he spoke with his Lama about his experiences and offered his experience and realization. So there's discussion about this in the histories. But generally, when we think about practicing Dharma, then this has to go with it has to fit with the level of the individual's mind and the level of their faculties. It's not everyone can be like Milarepa and go like Milarepa and go through such difficulties and hardships in order to attain Buddhahood in this lifetime. It's not definite that one has to do that.
The last question.
The last question is, His Holiness had said that to do Guru Yoga with the Lama in his Nirmanakaya form brings blessings more quickly. Would this or Yidam practice be faster in eliminating samsara?
快乐的时候那么它不是外在的所谓好看的东西，或者说好听的声音，或者说好吃的味道等等，并不是这一些。所以真正快乐它不是外在的这些事物，这些只是一个缘，它并不是真正的快乐。那么什么是真正的快乐呢？是你真正能够回到自心，越来越习惯于你安住在你本具的本然的这样的善的这种功德当中了，这个才是真正的快乐。
코아동아라 아니고 냠네 지체게 등진 인고라 냠나 코아동아를 대사와 있어요. 지 라멘nen조 세난다도 마다나 시지 이담질라의 nen조 세난다도 성물로 녀모 지 녀모 왜냐물을 안다. 디나는 야 녀모가 디모痛苦它并不是外在的，比如说难看的一个东西，或者一个不悦耳的声音、不好听的声音，或者是不顺心的某个事件、某个事件，都不是。什么是痛苦？痛苦其实是你内心的烦恼跟一种烦躁不安，那这个才是真正的痛苦。다 근데 맞지는 어디 라마 추고 롱고 뚜고 다양 꾸퇴바 지서야 샤네 꾸퇴바 가서 알았다 그래서 많이 있고 무유고 다들 가르쳐야 샤네 다 간다 뚜고 먹어도 뚜베 뚜구이네 다 펜더스 김도 와 뚜베 영두를 지네 다들이 주 산도 조디 녀모베 냠보는 저거에 계심이 있어요.
I don't think I said that. I'm not sure that I ever said that. And generally,
I can't remember.
Oh, I can't remember. I can't remember saying that. Generally, when we talk about emptying samsara, then whatever practicing we're doing, we have to take that practice and we have to hit the self-clinging over the head with that practice. So whether it's a guru yoga practice or whether it is a deity practice, it has to work as the antidote for the afflictions, and especially for the antidote. It must be act as the antidote for the affliction of delusion or ignorance, and especially as the antidote for clinging to self. Because if we want to empty, when we're talking about eliminating samsara or emptying samsara, then the root of samsara is clinging to a self, and so we need to eliminate that. And so that is what we need to do with all of the practice that we do. So all of our practice needs to be an antidote for the afflictions, and that is what we need to meditate. So whatever form of the deity or the Lama, whatever form kaya of the deity, we have to practice them. Our practice of it all has to be something that goes as the antidote for the afflictions.
단도나 디기 세규디 치료기 숭자바 다니엠바 트리심바 나 담지 나 소화 심바서버 소화 대화들이 깬사마도베 오늘 전에다 디기 오마 대처가 오마나스 다 디기 오마등에 가서 쉬변한신 然后说是
所以在这里呢，要举一个例子哦，就好像大家都知道明星哦，无论是演戏的或者是唱歌的明星，你看他们总是明星要进场的时候，都是在观众的这种掌声当中、欢呼当中进入到这个会场哦。所以这里的问题是，如果你能够选择，你希望成为的是那个明星呢，还是那个在一旁鼓掌的观众？
When we talk about happiness is not something that comes from necessarily from beautiful things, forms that we see, or from nice sounds that we hear, or a nice sense that we smell, or something. All of these are just conditions that can help bring about a sensation of pleasure, but that's not actual happiness. Actual happiness is when we have in our own individual beings, we familiarize ourselves with virtue or with our good qualities. That is what is actual happiness.
대가는시 동해에서 대한 에너지 치료기 뭐 이도 명화 밀레 민제바 나와레 민예바 이레 민조와 다 되게 동해 문에 좀아이마 다 동해에 조데 아주 심규리 예대베지 셈 추과다 셈 미디어와 생기 녀몽바다 아니 더 미기와도 차리.
Similarly, when we think about suffering, then suffering is not something outside of ourselves. It's not the unpleasant things that we see or hear. It's not the things that are unpleasant in our mind or that we don't like. That is not really what suffering is. What suffering really is, it's the afflictions that make ourselves, that give us difficulties in our mind, that make our minds disturbed and make our minds unpleasant, unhappy. So it really is the unvirtues.
근데 미지 디기를 되면 제거나 아주 된 아주 배수 제거하다 가라서나 심규래야 개회 사변 개버체 개회 사변도 다 야기했다네 권의 공배도 배워체 된지지리샤
所以其实问这个问题啊，其实主要是说我们很多人呢，似乎都很想成为一个明星。意思就是我们都觉得真正快乐是要成为一个得到快乐是要成为一个有钱有势、一个不同凡响或者一个万众瞩目的这样的一个人，好像这个才是快乐。所以总是觉得你好像成为一个不同的一个人，或者得到一个不同的一个新的东西。所以过去的或者旧的，甚至你现在拥有的，你都觉得这个不怎么样，你都觉得这个不好，你也觉得不满足。
And so in that way, to have we need to have happiness in our lives. And so in order to bring ourselves happiness, what we need to try to do is we need to try to take the seeds of the virtues and the good things that we have within ourselves, and we need to try to increase them. We need to try to let them grow and increase. And at the same time as we do that, there are the unvirtuous things in our mind, the unwholesome things, the causes of our suffering. The causes of suffering, or the root of suffering, are the afflictions, and we need to try to decrease those and make them less. And so along with that, I have an example of this.
你把快乐总是寄托在于未来会得到的什么的东西，所以这是我们对于快乐的一种误解。那我们也总是朝着这个方向不断去寻求、去找寻快乐，所以这是错误。
고주 거디용네 아니 미망고 지기 태모담이 고용거로 미망고 태모담에 쳐도 아니 고 냠젠데 용거로 그래 이제 산에 아니 그지 교랑가 당과 체비나 교랑 초에스 체비나 교랑디 히로데 찬데예 야나 히로디 내용도 사는 테모 단계 미천다 테모 단계의 창조이었어.
Like, for example, here, you have movie stars, and you have heroes and movie stars. And, here in India, when a movie star comes into the room, everyone starts clapping and applauding, and the movie star struts into the room like this. And so, here, if you had a choice, would you actually want to be a movie star?
No. Yeah? Negative. You want to be the movie star or...
Oh, so would you like to be the movie star, or do you want to be the person who is applauding, the people who are applauding?
Something like this, yeah. 난 예배에 간절히 잘 어울리노. 자, 배나 movie star. 직전에도 미망고지. 아주 미망고지기 3년 나눠래. 그런지 소소 보고차. 소소 민주보로 차. 배나 추부차. 야나지 가서에 민년자제 차. 딱 안다래. 민단데는 민자로 차지. 내가 여러 민단데는지 미망고 동자만 변하네. 소소리야 미참매지. 미참매지 소소를 따대야. 지다. 소소를 전화해야 돼. 네 차르지. 아주 상물 뒤에 봐. 아주 디지스 디산지 가나지 스타버지. 닝바 디좀 고메체. 닝바 디좀 페메도. 다 스타버지. 닝제보 직보직 종나. 다 드레지 종나 에너지 이츠 모르지. 아다 디지 터메. 전화로 소소 이내지. 다지 소소 여바데 다 중도가 선수로 따지 연구로 봐. 근데 미망부지 전화를이야. 디지 사야데 파지지 가르소에 닝바데서 고마주 소소를 다다 줘야 돼와. 엄마 줘야 돼서 고메 주시. 다베나 지 사사로 지미나. 어다지 소소 산다로 줘빈디. 엄마 닝바데 다다 줘야 돼. 더 처음인 데서다. 다베자 추바징에 저가 다 되네지 싸버지 주나. 에너지 가르쳐지 exciting 로지게 얘기해. 나베나 좀 모라로 지면다 닝바 트레이닝버를 되서 좀 스타버. 나사지 텔레양베 차게 먹고 얘기된 게 주나. 나사지 exciting 로지. 아주 별에다지 악사는 로지 되게 중요로 받아. 나 디소로 좀 물어봐. 세상 아주 삼액이 디지사데 우마 여바다 다다 여바데서 개폐마다 마음발에 사버를 지 드네지 통나서서 나 드네지 전에 아주 디지털 되게 honest.
So many people think that, if you get to be some big person, some hero, some movie star, someone rich and famous and so forth, they think they want to become someone who stands out from the crowd, someone who is different from everyone else, someone who everyone looks for. They think that happiness is something we need to get, something new that we need to get. They think that they don't want the old, they don't need the old, but instead we need something new. So we think of the new things as being something nice, something that we want to get. We think that in order to satisfy ourselves, we need to get something new. Oh, I'm going to bring myself happiness. We think I need something new for ourselves. And so, generally, we think that that's what we need. That's the feeling that we have. We think that happiness is, we don't need the old stuff, we don't need what we have. It's like if you're married and then you're with a partner for a long time and then it gets difficult and you start having a lot of fights and you think, maybe if I had a new partner it would be more exciting or something. Or we think about, so and this is just how we think about it. Or we think about cars and we think about the old car that we have and we think, wouldn't it be nice to have a new car with lots of new bells and whistles and so We have this
真正最开
feeling
心的
like
是
we
谁？
need
是那
we
些
need
观
that
众，不
something
是
new.
吗？
We
那些
have
观
this
众可
feeling
疯
that the
狂可开
happiness
心了
is，not the
他们
old
非常
things
非常
that's
的
going to
满
bring us
足于
happiness. We
他
feel
们
like we
看到
need
的
to
这
get
个明
something
星哦，你看他们
get
欢呼，
something
他
new
们
in
鼓
order
掌
to be，
他们
happy.
甚至
So that is what we
开心
do
到
to try to
昏
bring
倒，他们
ourselves
完
happy.
全沉浸在一种不可言说的快乐当中，不是吗？所以问题是你想成为一个明星，还是成为一个观众？这个问题在于，我们总是想说明星他很有名，然后他可能也很有力，但是其实不一定，就是他内心是不是因为这样而得到快乐，这是不一定的。所以真正开心的人是谁？搞不好是那一些正在享受着这样一个场合，在那里拍手鼓掌的那些观众，不是吗？所以总的来说，什么是快乐？就是快乐，就是在每一个当下，你随时能够感受到你自己的每一个情况，你活生生的在经验着每一个当下。就好像一句话说，你要感受每个当下的这种喜悦和快乐，你满足你所拥有的，这个就是一个快乐。但很多人一听到就说满足，我什么都没有，我怎么可能满足啊？但这里的问题呢，就是不在于你拥有什么，而是在于你知不知道你是不是快乐，这是重点。就好像说，昨天有举的例子，乞丐他可能什么都没有，但他如果内心他体会到、他知道、认知到他是快乐的话，他有这样的一种态度的话，那他就是快乐的。同样，一个富有者，他可能拥有很多，但他心中他总是不满足的话，那他也总是在焦虑，他也无法得到这个快乐的。所以快乐呢，并不是说你拥有什么，而是你拥有什么样的态度，这是很重要的。那么就像昨天我们说，其实你每天你都可以体会到一种喜悦，就是什么呢？就是你的呼吸。你看，我们每天你呼吸是多少次？这个呼吸可珍贵了。你要知道，一口气不来，我们就怎么样，就没有命了。所以你知道，这个呼吸它可是钱都买不到的。当然，我们说现在越来越多东西都得要花钱去买，水也要买，电也要买，搞不好哪一天一口气也得要，氧气也得花钱去买哦。但无论如何，我要说的是，我们现在很多人都忘了，你每一个当下存在的生命。一种喜悦，我们都忘了，就好像我们这一口呼吸，这一个呼吸，我们都忘了它，不在乎它。所以，如果你能够去感受你的呼吸，知道这一个呼吸的难得，你就能够体会到喜悦，生命的一种喜悦，这个就是快乐。
本来张国建没点个事呢，我基本的，古兰做基本切些，古兰대학 특시를 지도가 아니 축구 빼매지 원주 전부 예비는데所以다 가서 선배 전부 지금 로대야 중요 근데 이 산다 예매사 가면也가서 쉬는 신我说你们这里啊我东厂忙不吃上忙不当地啊的因为我的我他这个什么我人呢人当全部扎手下的现在我个厂务人没比呢我就说多少的说不年头嘛的因为我厂务人呀还是个人当全部女的女比的女对啊个好不他们是顶上成了鸟国的老的鸟国的去年鸟国的这么5代鸟国是oxygen 다 간다 대체네 진단 좀 경가래 이내 아주 진단 좀 그렇게 시험마다 고 인샤샤로 지고 오단샤샤 도샤샤
所以这里
大概是我们上面要不当这他这个误参谋误东啊已经门的了呀上面要不当其实他了不当定往这全部个上路
那这是因为之前几天似乎有弟子就创古仁波切给予一个观音菩萨的灌顶了，那但是后来仁波切代也请求法王说，因为法王在嘛，那就请求法王给予灌顶吧。所以应该会在明天或明后天的时间当中，法王说他会给予这个观音菩萨的灌顶，那么简略的给予一个观音的灌顶。那可能有关明分、空分的部分会在明天再说。
So when you have like a movie star who comes out, and the movie star comes out, I actually have to be careful here because, you know, some of the movie stars I know might be might be listening. But when the movie star comes out and they come out and everyone starts applauding for them, the question is, are they really happy? Is their mind happy or not? Of course they have to go out, but the question is whether they really are happy. Maybe they're not so happy, actually. But for those folks who are out there clapping for them and applauding them, cheering and making all the noise, they're really happy. They're having a good time. They're enjoying themselves a lot. So they're having this great feeling, this inexpressible feeling of fun and happiness as they do this. But for the big people, it's, for the heroes, it's not so definite, that not necessarily so that they're so happy. So what is happiness? Who is the person who's really happy? It's definitely the people who are applauding and cheering. They're the ones who are happy at that point. So, what is it? What is the happiness? How do we bring ourselves happiness? Well, happiness is really, it's what we have right now. It's thinking deeply about the things, what we are really right now. And so when we think about the experience, it's important to think about the experiences that we are having right now. And so, if we think about happiness, it's a question. It's not often a question of not so much what we have or what we don't have. Really, thinking about happiness, it's more a question of what we are or what we are not. Like with happiness, sometimes there are really poor people who are extremely happy. They know what to do to bring themselves happiness. Whereas there are rich people who have big worries and very great difficulties. And so it's not so much a question of what you have or do not have, as I said yesterday. It's like I was saying that each single breath we take, every day we take hundreds or thousands of breaths, and each of these breaths is incredibly precious, is incredibly valuable to us. If we were not able to breathe, then we would not be able to live. And so each short breath that we take is incredibly precious. It's incredibly valuable. It's something that you could not put a price tag on. Actually, these days, we have to pay for everything. You have to pay for electricity, you have to pay for food, you have to pay for everything else. Eventually, they're going to find a way about how to charge us so that we can breathe as well. But right now, if we think about it, each breath that we take, every instant that we have breath, this is such a beautiful, amazing thing that we're able to take the breath. And thinking about that, that is the happiness that we have. That's where we can hope for the big happiness.
所以这一次我们有几天的时间，能够在这样一个殊胜的地方，也讲说了有关止恶行善的如何成为一个善人的这些内容。那虽然我自己并没有做到，并不是一个好人的善人，但是我有机会跟大家分享这些内容，我真的就感到非常快乐，非常喜悦了。同时在这里也要再次的感谢大家在这几天前来听闻。来参加我的这些课程，要再次的谢谢你们。
完全不去过也是的。这里就是呢，打提领的差去了吧？他提领都差去，那生意现在是完全。现在是完别的时候，我的他这个外人嘛讲有些，大看他现在是完全都对不起切，俺提高了这些呢，就生不拿着东西的这些都就得，大看这样当然得说，那是。 maybe we can talk tomorrow.
This is something that we will maybe be able to talk about in the next few days.
Not next few days. Tomorrow. And tomorrow have empowerment.
所以这几天的课程呢，我们不一定说透过就是分享讨论快乐这个主题，我们不见得就真正马上就得到快乐。
This is too short.
那这几天课程，其实我最大的心愿是什么呢？就是这一次的课程不仅仅就是一个分享自己对于快乐这个成为一个好人、成为一个善人的一些介绍而已，而是我希望通过这次的课程，真正将我对你们每一位的关心跟祝福，也能够借这个机会分享给大家。因为你知道我讲的很多内容，有些道理，有些也实在没什么道理，但是我最主要的目的是希望透过这样子能够把这种祝福的关心能够供养给你们每一位。所以在课程的最后，在这里我要再一次的祝福大家能够有一个愉快的人生。
미상보다 되기 되면서데 칼레 제고면서데 계속 같이 쉬브레 예 지랑 아람 미상보지 이제 아람 미상보지 이바 이 아람 미상보지 계셔요 말이다 미디기데 되면지 바지 있어 말해 다 이비네 아네 자천부 와르너시 지 상기 좀 된대기 뉴스 남리야 동해 네 타로 동해 아주 대화 오늘도 제가 저 동해 방아 특수 만으로와 송세게 내 자신 이탈리아 아주 지 미상고 차다 지다 디기를 되면 차당 거 계속 준비해야 충분히 나라다 미상보 이내 미네 디기르가 이내 미네 깨지셔야 충분히 가오총 드린 주산에 상상으로야 어린데 투주다나 상문데 예 깨지디 년가패디 상문으로 토세나 쉬어이
So we have had the chance to talk about being a good person and how to become happy through being a good person. We've spoken about this, and whether or not I'm a good person is one question. I'm not someone who's so happy, but to be able to come here to this place of Varanasi, the place where the Buddha taught his students the path on how to free themselves from suffering, how to manifest their happiness and bring out their happiness, and taught them the unmistaken method to do this. And to speak about this here is a very good thing. So aside from whether or not I'm a good person, I'm very happy to have had this opportunity to speak about this. And so I'd like to thank all of you who are listening for coming here today.
땅에 와치 쉬어야 가라서나 땅에 디기 꼴이야 아주 지금 둘이 잡았다 디기 꼴이야 땀시에 잡았다 디기 용도도 말이지 디기 용도 말이지 이내야 아니 땅아 상로 남도된 좀 아니 디기 꼴이야 계셔야 돼 이게 지당기 디 가서 introduction of Jamaima. So the Kanazu Samegi, Digilia, Simguria, Adana, Zawaya, Sujeris, the name to Sane. Tangi gets it, Samsung gets a choy about the Samsung Chomia, which I own. The Imbidia gets it at Nyamdo and Zawata. 심쿠량 냠도 기란소를 표현해 줘요. 레인주산은 텔레데는 기란소 다 미진한 게 되게 권에 공부도 하다. 아니지 대신 기회 면없이
And so my biggest hope coming here and spending a few days talking about happiness and so forth is that not that we've talked about this, we've talked a lot about happiness, and just talking about happiness isn't going to bring happiness, but we've all gathered here together, and in speaking about this, I feel like it's not necessarily just making an introduction, but it's for you all to be happy, to show my caring and my affection for all of you. And so I feel like gathering here has been a way for us to make connections with each other and to develop a bond of love and affection. And so I hope that through this all of you gain happiness and that your happiness grows stronger and flourishes.
Thank you. Thank you both.
Brief announcement. We will call and tomorrow.
go. Come on, this. 다 진이서 나도 성인 되는 저 가리에 가르쳐줘. 아니요.
So please come at 2 o'clock for security.
Sanjo